That was impressive, that was.
Two.
I gave the Michael away. I'm not sure where they went.
My microphone's back.
Welcome to the Space Stand.
Rightio, welcome everyone to our broadcast of this Championship Women Round 6 match between the Sherbrooke Suns and the McKinnon Cougars. So, second versus fifth. Sherbrooke currently sat in second, 5 wins and 1 loss. Their only loss, however, was against McKinnon early on in the season, in the second match of a doubleheader for them in round 2. McKinnon won the previous matchup 73-63. McKinnon coming into this match, however, off a 7-point loss versus Bulleen. They currently sat in 5th with a record of 3-3. So starting 5s for both teams today, we're going to have for the Suns, Zoe Zwirling, Oleana Squires, Mel Pryor, Tanea Sawalo and Keisha Lee. For the Cougars, we've got Alicia Lewis, Tamara Gear, Emily Little, Emily Suckling, and Annabelle Fitter. So it is Gear and Lee in the jump to get us underway. Keisha Lee wins the tip for the Suns. However, the ball is picked up by Lewis for the Cougars. Lewis kicks to Fitter, back to Lewis. Waits for the screen from Gear. She kicks back to Fitter. Fitter's three, doesn't fall. Rebound off hands, falls to Sawalo. Sherbrooke's first possession. What can they do here? Sawalo guarded by Suckling. Zwirling gives inside to Pryor. Pryor kicks to Squires in the corner. Squires for three. Shot doesn't fall. Rebound Lewis. She goes in the corner to Suckling. Suckling drives. She kicks out to Little. Little goes for three. Emily Little opens the scoring with a big three. Ball is with Squires. She goes to Pryor in the corner. Open three, Mel Pryor. Too much on it. Rebound Lewis. She looks to put some pace on the ball, but has to wait. Little, back-to-back threes for Emily Little. No. Rebound Squires. She waits for the screen from Pryor. Kicks out to Sawalo. Sawalo goes for three this time. That doesn't fall. Lewis picks up the board once more. 2 points shot from Alicia Lewis is good. Meaning that McKinnon take an early 5-0 lead. Squires has the ball right wing. She looks inside for Lee. Lee looks to go to work on Little. Fitter comes across to help, but fouls in the process. So Sawalo trusted to take the inbound. She gives to Pryor in the corner. She goes to Zwirling. Zwirling steps back for the three. Shot doesn't fall. Lee picks up the board. Shot doesn't fall. She gets it again. Keisha Lee gets it on the second attempt. Suckling, ball in hand, looks to put some pace on it. She kicks out to Fitter. Fitter at the block. Has to kick out to Gear in the corner. Ball with Little, top of the key. Waits for the screen from Gear. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Guarded by Sawalo. Little puts up the shot. Doesn't fall. Lee picks up the rebound. Zwirling, long pass to Sawalo. Sawalo grabs it just in bounds. Puts it up and in off the glass. McKinnon lead 5-4. 7.5 to play in the first. Little hands off to Suckling, who gives to Lewis. She's got Squires for company. Fakes one way, goes the other. Suckling, top of the key. 5 seconds, puts up the three. Emily Suckling, shot doesn't fall. Off hands, out of court. And it's a Sherbrooke ball. So Zwirling's dribble deflected and picked up by Lewis. She looks to drive on Zwirling. Euro step is good for Alicia Lewis. She's got 4 early on. The ball gets out to Zwirling. Zwirling's going to put up the three. That doesn't fall. Little rebounds. She gives to Suckling. Suckling, deep two. Doesn't fall. Fitter rebounds. Puts up the shot, and it's good.
2 points, Annabelle Fitter.
So McKinnon take an early 9-4 lead. Sawalo has the ball. Gives into Lee. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Lee's mid-range shot is good.
2 points, Keisha Lee.
Suckling hands off to Fitter. Back to Lewis at the top of the key. Gear sets the screen. Fitter goes for three. Over the top of Lee. In and out for Annabelle Fitter. And Pryor draws the foul on the McKinnon 13, Tamara Gear. McKinnon make a double substitution. Lee Birch coming on. Lee kicks to Zwirling. Zwirling goes for three. Yes! Zoe Zwirling knocks down the three. Now McKinnon to return serve through Lee Birch. They do. So McKinnon lead by 2. Squires looks to drive in left side. Finger roll layup, doesn't fall. Rebound comes out of court off Tamara Gear. So Zwirling takes the inbound. Squires, the receiver. Kicks back out to Zwirling. She drives baseline. Inside, Keisha Lee.
2 points, Keisha Lee.
Lee lays it in, ties up the scores. Lewis hands off to Birch. What can McKinnon answer with? Fitter looks to drive. Guarded well by Squires. Ball with Gear at the top of the key. 8 seconds on the shot clock. This is Noosis for 3. Got it! Daisy Noosis hits the 3. Sawalo. She's guarded by Fitter. Gives in to Pryor. Pryor fakes one way, spins the other. Draws the foul on the shot, so Mel Pryor will go to the line and shoot 2.
Fouls number 13, Tamara Gear.
So Pryor's first shot just short. McKinnon made a substitution. Romy Price onto the court for her first minutes. Pryor's second shot falls. So McKinnon lead 14-12 with 4.5 to play in the first term. Lewis looks inside for Birch. Birch drives, draws the foul. So she'll go to the line and shoot 2. So Lee Birch at the line, hits the first free throw. Second one in and out for Birch. Pryor hustles in front of Price for the rebound. Zwirling gives to Pryor. Now Sawalo. Lee, shot over Fitter, doesn't fall. She hustles to pick up the offensive rebound. Comes off hands out of court off McKinnon, so it will be a Sherbrooke ball from the baseline. McKinnon make another double substitution. Emily Little back onto the court. And Natalie Keane on for her first minutes. Alicia Lewis and Annabelle Fitter take a sit. Zwirling inbound, finds Squires. She's going to pull up the long 2 is good. For Oleana Squires. Her first points of the afternoon. Keane gives to Little. Little into Price. Price over the top. Ball finds Noosis.
2 points, Daisy Noosis.
So ball with Lee. She goes over the top to Squires. Squires another deep 2. Good. Sherbrooke just keeping in touch with McKinnon here, down by 1. Little gets the screen from Price. She kicks out to Noosis for 3 once more. In and out for Daisy Noosis. Little picks up the rebound. She puts up the shot, and it doesn't fall. Mel Pryor picks up the rebound. Zwirling gives to Sawalo. Over to Squires. She's guarded by Noosis. Kicks out to Pryor. Pryor goes across to Sawalo. Left side wing. Deep 2. In and out for Tanea Sawalo. Noosis picks up the ball. Going the other way. Kicks out to Keane for 3. Keane can't find it. Rebound comes off hands. Out of court. Off McKinnon. So it'll be a Sherbrooke basketball. Ball in the hands of Zwirling. She hands to Pryor. Pryor fakes one way, goes the other, off the glass, doesn't fall, picks up her own offensive rebound. She spins once more. Did all the hard work, couldn't finish it off. Little the other way for Sherbrooke. She drives in, draws the foul, and will go to the line and shoot two.
Substitution for the Suns, Tegan Burton checking in.
So Tegan Burton checks in for Oleana Squires. So Little makes the first. It's her first set of free throws for the match. She makes the second one as well. So the ball with Zwirling. She drives, baseline, under the ring, gives to Burton. Burton drives in, shot blocked. Picked up by McKinnon. It's in the hands of Birch. She gives to Keane. Keane looks to drive on Lee. Tipped away, picked up by Noosus. So Noosus draws the foul on Burton and will go to the line and shoot two. It's Emily Suckling back onto the court for Lee Birch. Noosus' first shot falls. She gets a second to fall. So Noosus up to 7 points now. Leading scorer on the court. Ball in the hands of Lee. She gives to Zwirling. Now to Sawalo. Kicks across to Burton. Burton over the top, looking for Lee. Deflected away by Little. Picked up by Noosus. She's got Romy Price for help, but Pryor cuts off the pass. Eventually gets it to Zwirling. Over the top to Lee. Lee spins, looks to drive. Draws the foul. And Keisha Lee will go to the line for her first set of free throws. As Alicia Lewis checks in for Natalie Keane. First one goes for Lee. And so does the second one. Louise Karajic-Powell checks in for Mel Pryor for her first minutes of the afternoon. So McKinnon lead 21-18, a minute 19 to play. Lewis gives to Suckling. She looks to drive left side, kicks out, Noosus. Floater from the elbow, doesn't fall. Rebound off hands and out of court in the hands of Alicia Lewis. So it'll be a Sherbrooke ball. So Zoe Zwirling with ball in hand. She kicks to Sawalo, top of the key. Open three ball for Sawalo, short. So Lewis with the ball for McKinnon. 40 seconds to play in the first. She gives to Suckling, top of the key. Three over Sawalo. Doesn't fall. Lee pulls down the rebound. Burton brings the ball up the court. She gives to Sawalo. Wants the screen from Karajic-Powell. Sawalo instead drives baseline. Passes inside to Zwirling. Zoe Zwirling up and in off the glass. 12 seconds to play in the first. Noosus goes to Little. Little looks to drive left side. Over Keisha Lee. Lays it in off the glass. That brings us to the end of the first. McKinnon leads by 3, 23-20. Top scorers on the court. Sherbrooke, Keisha Lee, top scorer of all players with 8. Daisy Noosus has 7 for McKinnon. Mel Pryor and Keisha Lee currently leading the rebounds. And Zoe Zwirling, the assist leader on the court.
The canteen is open upstairs if you'd like to grab a bite to eat.
Just before we get back into the action, the Sherbrooke Basketball Association would like to thank our major sponsors for their continued support. We're very pleased to announce that the Community Bank, Upwine District, part of Bendigo Bank, has joined us as stadium sponsors. Their generous support of the club is all thanks to their customers, as the Community Bank is based on a profit with a purpose model, meaning the profits are returned directly to the community. So we begin once more with McKinnon holding a 3-point lead. Ball in the hands of Zwirling. She gives to Karajic Powell, who goes to Squires. Inside to Lee, guarded by Little. Squires, Lee rather. Floater shot, doesn't fall. Lewis picks up the rebound. Calls for the screen from Little. Burton switches on. Suckling goes to Gear. She hands to Branca Tassano. She's going to go for 3 over Zwirling. Shot doesn't fall. Lewis hustles on the rebound, but Lee ends up with it for the Suns. Squires over the top to Zwirling. And Zwirling draws the foul on Lily Branca Tassano. Karajic Powell inbounds to Lee. Gets it back from Lee. Karajic Powell drives, puts up a shot. Shot no good. Rebound Gear. Ball's with Little. She looks inside for Gear. Ball comes off Lee. Back to Little. She kicks to Suckling now. Emily Suckling hits the 3.
3 points, Emily Suckling.
Oleana Squires for 3 to return the serve. So Branca Tassano. Ball in hand. Gives to Little. And draws a foul. So it'll be a Cougars ball. So Branca Tassano inbounds. Looking for Gear over the top. Out of court for a Cougars ball once more. So Suckling inbounds. She gives to Branca Tassano. 12 on the shot clock. She looks to drive. Takes a step in from the block. Floater is good. Cougars lead by 5. So Zwirling to Karajic Powell. Back to Zwirling. Has Lewis for company. Looks to get the ball to Karajic Powell. Draws the foul on Alicia Lewis. So Zwirling inbound. Gives to Squires. Has Brancatisano for company. Pulls up deep 2. Oleana Squires. She's up to 9 points now. Screen from Little allows Alicia Lewis to go for the 3. 2, rather. Apologies. So Squires now. She's going to go for the 3. This one will be a 3, but it doesn't go. Rebound Little. Fakes the handoff to Lewis. Looking to drive on Karajic Powell. Fade away 2. In for Emily Little. They've thought about it. But she gets it to stick. Karajic Powell now. Hands to Squires. From the block. Squires. Shot doesn't fall. Gear rebounds. Lewis across to Brancatisano. Ball with Little. 10 on the shot clock with Suckling at the top of the key. She drives in, kicks out to Little. Little puts up a 3. That shot doesn't fall. Lewis hustles hard on the rebound, gets it to Suckling, and Suckling puts it in.
2 points, Emily Suckling.
So Lee with the ball, kicks to Zwirling. Looking for Burton. Pass doesn't find the mark. Picked up by Brancatisano. She's going to lay it in. No, she's not. Lee the other way now. Sherbrooke with a gift. And a foul called on the McKinnon 3. Emily Suckling. As Sherbrooke called timeout. The Cougars currently lead 34-25. 6:18 to play in the first half. So we restart. Karajic Powell into Squires. Tanea Sawalo and Mel Pryor have taken the court once again for Sherbrooke. Pryor links up with Sawalo for 3. Shot doesn't fall. Hustle on the rebounds, but it falls out of court. In the hands of the Cougars. So Sherbrooke ball. Sawalo gets to Squires. Squires hits the 3 and is fouled. So she'll go to the line for the 4-point play. After the foul from the McKinnon 30, Madison Simmons. So Squires finishes the 3-point play, not 4. So the basket was called as a deep 2. Squires guards Lewis. Great pass inside for Little. Sawalo defends. Little draws the foul.
Fouls on number 35, Tanea Sawalo.
So Emily Little back at the line. She hits the first, up to 10 points now. Make that 11, shooting 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Squires kicks to Burton, one more to Sawalo. Waits for the screen from Pryor. She gives to Squires, to Burton. Gets the screen from Karajic Powell. Karajic Powell rolls, gets the pass. Over Gear, banks it in. Great shot, Karajic Powell. Lewis, she's guarded by Burton. Ball with Noosis, looking inside for Gear. Cut off by Karajic Powell. Pass over the top, looking for Pryor. Can she get on to the end of it? Yes, she can. Can't get the shot to fall. Noosis rebounds. Her pass back, cut off by Squires. Squires, long pass, finds Sawalo. Sawalo in off the glass. Cougars call a timeout.
32-36.
McKinnon's lead, 4 points. They lead 36-32 with 4:54 to play in the first half. Oh, yeah, I do. All right. So we're back with the McKinnon ball from the baseline. After the basket from Tanea Sawalo before the timeout. Noosis inbounds. Ball makes its way to Gear. Back to Noosis. She goes for the shot over Karajic Powell. Doesn't fall. A lot of hustle on the rebounds. And the refs picked out a foul on the McKinnon number 20. Possibly 30. I'm going to assume 30, Madison Simmons. Which means that Squires will be at the line shooting 2. As they are in the bonus with 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the second term. Squires drops the first. She's up to 13 points. Make that 14 with a lucky bounce. Ball with Gear at the top of the key. Gives to Noosis. Noosis drives in, left side. Nice layup, Daisy Noosis. Sawalo's pass finds Burton. Burton drives in. She draws the foul, so she'll go to the line for free throws after the foul from Tamara Gear. So McKinnon make a quadruple substitution. Everyone on the court makes way bar Alicia Lewis. So Emily Suckling, Romy Price, Annabelle Fitter and Lee Birch all onto the court for the Cougars. As Tegan Burton at the line nails both free throws for her first points of the encounter. As Keisha Lee checks back in for the Suns. They trail by 2. Lewis with ball in hand. Gives to Suckling. Price. Goes to Fitter. Fitter looks to spin on Lee. Drives in left side. Can't get it to fall. Birch picks up the offensive rebound. And the jump shot from the elbow is good for Lee Birch. She moves up to 5 points now. Pryor with ball in hand. She drives right side. Reverse layup is good for Mel Pryor. So Lewis with ball in hand. Guarded by Burton. Hands off to Birch. She gives back to Lewis. Looks to drive baseline on Squires, but steps out of court. So it's a Sherbrooke ball. So the inbound ball gets to Squires. She gives to Lee. Lee, great pass. Squires lays it in. Scores tied once again. As Lewis looks to drive. She passes down low to Price. Burton comes across and forces the jump.
Jump ball call. Ball.
So McKinnon ball as Zoe Zwirling checks back in for Tegan Burton. Inbound pass from Suckling. Finds Price, but Price can't finish her dinner. Squires looks inside for Lee. She's guarded by Fitter. Lee draws the foul on the drive, so she will go to the line and shoot 2. So Lee draws the foul on Annabelle Fitter. It's her second personal. So Lee gets the first one to go. And the second one too. So Sherbrooke hit the lead for, I believe, the first time in the match. Lewis gives to Suckling. Suckling drives left side, puts the shot up. It doesn't fall, but she draws the foul and goes to the line. Emily Suckling at the line nails the first. And the second as well. So we're back at 42 apiece. Zwirling gives to Squires. Lewis deflects out of her hands and out of court. So Sherbrooke retained possession, 17 on the shot clock. Inbound ball over the top finds Lee. Looks to go to work on Fitter. She does. Lee floats it in. Long ball over the top, looking for Birch. Doesn't quite find the mark. As Emily Little checks back in for the Cougars for Annabelle Fitter. Lee has it, top of the key. Squires gives inside to Pryor. Guarded by Price. Fakes one way. Looks to go the other, then goes back. The original way she faked. Draws the foul on Romy Price. Pryor will be shooting 2. Price first one doesn't fall. But she hits the second. So Sherbrooke lead by 3, their highest lead of the match. As Emily Little has ball in hand. 2 minutes to play here in the second term. Ball with Birch. She looks inside for Price, who rolls after the screen. Pass just can't quite find the mark. Squires pulls up for 3. Squires doesn't get it to go. Lewis rebounds. She gives a cross into the corner to Lee Birch, who hits the 3. Ties it up. 45 all. Zwirling drives, kicks to Lee. Keisha Lee for 3. Too much on it. Birch pulls down the board. As Lewis hands off to Little. She's guarded by Lee. Lewis spins. Little spins, rather. Shot doesn't fall. Pryor pulls down the rebound. Zwirling looks to give back to Pryor. Lewis intercepts. Birch looks inside for Price. Great pass, Lee Birch. McKinnon take the lead back once more. Zwirling hands to Squires. Zwirling waits for the screen from Pryor. She goes for the shot from the free throw line. Doesn't fall. Rebound comes off hands, but Lewis ends up with it. She goes to Suckling. Suckling over the top to Birch. Open layup. So, no shot clock. Sherbrooke should have the final shot of this first half. They trail by 4. 10 seconds on the clock. Lee goes to Zwirling. Zwirling puts up a shot. It doesn't go. Hustle on the rebound. Ends up with Emily Suckling. And the McKinnon Cougars take a 4-point lead into half-time. They lead 49-45. Now, the Sherbrooke Basketball Association would like to thank our major sponsors for their continued support. Firstly, the Community Bank, Upwey and District part of Bendigo Bank, who have joined us as stadium sponsors. Knox Ford, located just down the hill in Ferntree Gully. The Paradise Valley Hotel in Clematis. Hills Physiotherapy in Emerald, Roval and Knox. The South Ashburton Service Station. And iAthletic, the team's clothing supplier. Join us back in roughly 9 minutes' time for the second half of action here at Upwey High School Stadium, sponsored by Bendigo Community Bank, Upwey and District, where McKinnon currently hold a 4-point lead. Welcome back to Upwey High School Stadium, sponsored by Bendigo Community Bank, Upwey and District. Due to get back on the way in roughly 30 seconds, where McKinnon hold a 4-point lead over Sherbrooke, 49-45. Big pointer in this game so far would have to be McKinnon's bench scoring compared to the Suns. McKinnon currently with 23 points coming from off the bench, whereas Sherbrooke just the 4. Oleana Squires, the top scorer on the court. She has 16 for the Suns. So back underway. Ball is with Lee. She's guarded by Little. Kicks to Pryor. Pryor goes for 3. Top of the key. Short. Bounces back to her. So Zwirling ball in hand. 10 on the shot clock. Lee's going to go for 3 now. That doesn't fall. Rebound. Annabelle Fitter. Lewis gives to Suckling, who gives it back to Lewis. Pass inside for Gear. Gear spins over Pryor. Shot doesn't fall. Pryor rebounds. Fitter hustles. But Sherbrooke end up with the ball. Zwirling cross-court pass to Sawalo. Gets the open 3 ball that she wants. It doesn't fall. Lewis the other way now for Sherbrooke. Gives to Little. Ball with Suckling. She goes for 3. That doesn't fall. Ball hits the wire, so it's a Sherbrooke ball. Lee gives to Squires. Pryor. Sawalo. Kicks out to Zwirling. She goes to Lee. Lee's going to go for 3 again. Got it. So Suckling inbounds to Little. She kicks out to Lewis. Lewis hands to Suckling. She gives to Fitter. Back to Suckling. 9 on the shot clock. Little is going to launch a 3. Little hits back with a 3 of her own. Ball makes its way to Squires. Left side wing. 10 on the shot clock. She gives to Sawalo. Sawalo looks to drive. Right side. Mid-range shot from Tanea Sawalo is good. So McKinnon lead by 2. Little goes for 3 once more over Sawalo. In and out. Gear rebounds. She gives to Little at the block. Fakes the first one. Goes in the second time. And that bounces in for Emily Little. She moves up to 16 points now for the contest. Zwirling gives to Squires. She goes for 3 over Fitter. Shot is short. Lewis and Zwirling go for the rebound. It ends up in the hands of Little. She looks to drive on Pryor. Emily Little draws the foul and makes the basket. So Lou Karajic-Powell checks in now for Mel Pryor. Little at the line. Converts the 3-point play, so she moves up to 19 points. Zwirling with ball in hand. Gives to Lee at the free throw line. That shot falls for Keisha Lee. Zwirling guards Lewis. Gets her moving. Lewis puts up the shot. Just doesn't fall. Almost one for the highlight reel. Squires the other way. Looks for the pass. It's blocked by Lewis, and Lewis then draws an offensive foul.
Fouls on number 24, Oleana Squires.
Ball in the hands of Lewis. She gives to Little. Little to Gear. She hands off to Fitter. Fitter to Lewis, inside to Gear, guarded by Karajic Powell. 4 on the shot clock. Gear spins, hook shot, doesn't fall. Rebound, off hands, ends up with Fitter. And a foul's been called for the Sherbrooke 20, Louise Karajic Powell. So Lewis gives to Suckling. 6 minutes to play. Suckling goes for 3. Shot deflected by Squires. Picked up by Zwirling. She gets around Lewis. Kicks to Karajic Powell. She looks to pass inside to Squires. Deflected away by Lewis. Picked up by Little. Suckling hands to Fitter. She gives to Little, who's guarded by Sawalo. 6 on the shot clock. She spins outside Gear. Gear gives to Suckling. Suckling has to shoot the 3. In and out for Emily Suckling. Picked up by Zwirling. She looks inside for Lee. Lee's going to put up a shot. That doesn't fall. Gear picks up the rebound. She gives to Suckling. Fitter, and now Lewis. She goes one more to Little. Little fakes the shot, drives inside. Spins on Zwirling and puts up the shot, and it drops for Emily Little. So McKinnon lead by 7. Sawalo goes across to Squires. Squires gets the screen from Lee. Mid-range jump shot for Squires. Doesn't fall. Rebound Gear. Lewis looks to drive on Karajic Powell. Kicks to Fitter in the corner. Annabelle Fitter knocks down the 3.
And timeout called for the Suns, 61-52.
So with that 3, McKinnon's lead back out to, out to a match high 10 points. They lead 62-52, 4.5 to play in the third. So playback underway here in the third. The ball in the hands of Zoe Zwirling. She moves around the screen of Lee. Zoe drives and gets it in. Ball with Lewis. She gives to Noosus. Now Fitter. Birch looks to drive baseline. Blocked by Sawalo. Picked up by Zwirling. Zwirling waits for the screen from Lee. Kicks out Sawalo. She goes for three. In and out for Tanea Sawalo. Noosus picks up the rebound. Driving it the other way. She gives to Lewis. Back to Noosus, to Birch, now to Price. To Noosus. Gets the screen from Price. Jump shot from the elbow. Just doesn't fall. Karajic Powell picks up the rebound for the Suns. Karajic Powell gives to Sawalo. Inside, Keisha Lee. Outside, Tegan Burton looks to drive. So the pass finds Karajic Powell. She's under the basket. Keeps it in. 7 seconds on the clock. Zwirling with the ball. Tipped away by Lewis. Karajic Powell gives chase, but Lewis lays it in with the finger roll. Lead back out to 10. Inbound ball finds Zwirling. Karajic Powell hands off. Back to Zwirling. Zwirling drives left side. Mid-range jumper. Doesn't fall. Rebound Noosus for McKinnon. She drives. Floater over the top of Karajic Powell. Finds the bottom of the net. Match high lead now for the Cougars. They lead by 12 with 2 minutes to play in the third. Zwirling with the ball. Kicks to Burton. Now one more to Sawalo. Gets the screen from Lee. And draws a foul on the McKinnon number 5, Romy Price. Sherbrooke make a triple substitution. Sawalo, Lee, Zwirling make way for Squires, Pryor, and Shanahan for her first minutes. Karajic Powell inbounds to Squires. Pryor, back to Squires. 7 on the clock to shoot. Pass from Squires, looks for Burton. Too much height on it. So the ball in Brancatisano's hands. Little looks to drive on Karajic Powell. She gets to the basket, lays it in. McKinnon leads by 14. Squires gets it back from Pryor. Long three, Oleana Squires. Nails the long three. Brancatisano looking to return serve. Can't do it. Rebound, Karajic Powell. Squires, ball in hand, looks to drive. Hands off to Pryor. Long two, Mel Pryor. Back-to-back baskets for the Suns. McKinnon lead by 9. A minute to play in the third. Lee Birch goes for 3. She nails it. So McKinnon leads 71-59. Burton looks inside for Karajic Powell. Finds the target. Karajic Powell goes to work. Puts up the shot. Deflected by Birch. Ball picked up by Little. Brancatisano goes back to Little. Fakes the 3. Looks to step back. Guarded well by Karajic Powell. She finds Brancatisano open. 3 ball doesn't hit. Brancatisano rebounds. Noosus. Open 3. Doesn't go. Rebound falls to Birch once more. Squires, Hail Mary from half court. Almost banks in. But that wraps up a dominant quarter from the Cougars. They lead 73-59. 10 minutes of basketball left to play. Rightio, so play to get back underway with a McKinnon ball from the sideline for the final 10 minutes of basketball here at Upwey High School Stadium, sponsored by Bendigo Community Bank, Upwey and District. Suckling to Gear. She kicks to Keane in the corner. Keane goes for three. Shot doesn't fall. Sawalo rebounds. She's going to be instrumental here if the Suns can mount a comeback. She's guarded by Little. Gives to Squires. 12 on the clock to shoot. Squires steps back. Has to kick to Burton. Burton over the top finds Pryor. Looks to go to work on Gear. Pryor scores the basket. 9.5 to play. Natalie Keane, ball in hand. She looks to drive baseline and draws a foul. So it's Burton's third personal. Gear receives from Keane. Gives back. Or Suckling, rather. And a jump ball forced, and it'll be a Suns ball. Good defensive stop there from the Suns. So Gamble takes the inbound on the court for her first minutes. She gives to Squires. Squires kicks to Gamble. Gamble goes to Burton. To Sawalo. Waits for the screen from Pryor. She goes around Gear. Passes to Gamble. Gamble's shot just doesn't fall. Little rebounds. So Little draws the foul on Mel Pryor to second personal. Little has the ball now. Looks to drive. Picked up by Sawalo. Nice steal. She goes down the other end. Has to slow down. Gives to Pryor. She kicks out to Burton. Burton loads up. Shot doesn't go. Rebound Keane. That's Burton's fourth personal. Suckling, ball in hand. She gives to Birch. Birch loads up another three. Doesn't go. Rebound Squires. 8 minutes to play. Squires loads up a three. Doesn't fall. Little picks up the rebound. She spins around Squires. And finds herself now at the top of the key. She kicks over. Birch for three once more. Got it! That's Lee Birch's third three of the match. And McKinnon out now to a match high 15-point lead. Squires. Drives. Shot over Keane. Doesn't work. Rebound Gear. Little. She drives and draws a foul. Keisha Lee checks in for Bridget Gamble. So Little hits the first. And the second. So Emily Little up to 25 points. Sawalo, ball in hand. Kicks to Pryor. Now to Squires. Squires drives. Hand off to Mel Pryor. Mel Pryor lays it in. Ball's with Suckling. She puts up the three. Got it! Suckling nails her second three. Squires, ball in hand. She drives, kicks out to Sawalo. Sawalo steps around Suckling. Over Gear. Shot doesn't fall. Gear rebounds. Passes up the court to Birch. Birch, a lot of open room to move into. Kicks to Suckling in the corner. Back-to-back threes for Suckling. Yes! McKinnon's lead balloons out to 21. So Sawalo has ball in hand. She gives to Squires. Waits for the screen from Pryor. Squires loads up a three. Shot doesn't fall. Keane picks up the rebound. She passes over the top. It's deflected by Squires, but not enough. Ball still gets to Little. And she lays it in. Just seems no matter what Sherbrooke do, McKinnon have their number today. Lee gives to Sawalo. Now to Burton. Burton puts up a three. Shot doesn't go. Pryor pulls down the offensive board. Sherbrooke make a substitution. Zoe Zoiling checks in for Tegan Burton. Natalie Keane checks out for Daisy Noosis. And Lee Birch checks out for Alicia Lewis on the side of McKinnon. Pryor spins on Price. Lays it in. McKinnon lead 86-65. 5.5 to play. Suckling waits for the screen from Noosis. She gives to Little. Gives to Price, who rolls after the screen. Just can't quite pick it up properly. Squires, ball in hand, tipped away by Lewis. And then her pass to Swirling, picked up by Noosus. Noosus drives, lays it in. Lee spins, ball tipped away by Noosus, picked up by Little. Little goes over the top to Price. Her pass just a little too high and out of court. McKinnon make a substitution. Annabelle Fitter checks in for Emily Little. Lee goes to Sawalo. Guarded by Noosus. Squires. So Squires draws the foul on Noosus. Apologies on Lewis. Swirling, ball in hand. Waits for the screen from Lee. Gives to Lee now. 5 on the shot clock. She looks to go to work on Fitter. And draws the foul. So she'll go to the line and shoot 2. So Lee knocks down the first. And the second. Keisha Lee up to 19 points now for the match. Lewis gives to Price. Price now to Suckling. Suckling has an open 3 all the time in the world. Just can't get the shot to fall. Squires rebounds. 4 minutes to play. And an offensive foul called on the Suns 32, Mel Pryor. So that's Pryor's third personal. Ball in the hands of Suckling. She's guarded by Squires. Squires picks up the loose dribble. Hands to Pryor. Zwirling gives to Squires. Squires, open 3. Doesn't hit. Rebound. Pryor pulls down the offensive board. Puts it back up and in. Ball with Suckling. She waits for the screen from Price. Gives to Noosus. Noosus looks to drive baseline. Hands off to Price. Price lays it in off the glass.
2 points, Romy Price.
So Zwirling looks to hand to Sawalo. Intercepted by Noosus. McKinnon 3-on-1. Fitter, Euro step around Zwirling. Gets it to go off the top of the glass. Sherbrooke ball in the hands now of Squires. Gives to Sawalo. Hands into Squires. Squires turns, puts it up and in. Ball with Noosus at the top of the key. 2.5 minutes to play. Noosus drives, puts up the shot, doesn't fall. Zwirling rebounds. Sawalo across to Squires. Squires fakes a shot the first time, puts it up the second and in. So Squires now up to 23. Three ball from Emily Suckling, finds the mark. Lee, ball over to Pryor. Pryor finds the mark. And substitutions for both teams. Sherbrooke going with a fully rotated lineup. McKinnon make a triple sub. So adding on the court for Sherbrooke, Jazz Greenwood, Alana Tompkins, Eliza Shanahan, Bridget Gamble, and Lou Karajic-Powell. Lee Birch is back on the court for McKinnon to go with Lily Brancatisano and Madison Simmons. Price drives left side, lays it in off the glass. Tompkins gives to Greenwood. Ball with Shanahan. Waits for the screen from Gamble. Shanahan, shot from the free throw line is good.
2 points. Eliza Shanahan.
Ball with Brancatisano. 1:10 to play. Hands off to Simmons. Simmons gives inside to Price. Back outside for Fitter. Fitter goes to Price. Pass just doesn't find the mark. And it's out of court. McKinnon lead 97-77 with 60 seconds to play. Greenwood gives to Shanahan. Shanahan goes for 3 this time. In and out. Rebound, Brancatisano. Brancatisano guarded by Greenwood. Kicks out to Fitter in the corner for 3. That doesn't fall. Shanahan and Price fight over the rebound. Price pulls it down. Gives to Brancatisano. But her pass back inside is poor and out of court.
Suns ball, 34.2 seconds to the clock.
So 30 seconds to play. Greenwood ball in hand. Gives to Karajic-Powell. She looks over the top for Greenwood. Pass deflected out by Brancatisano.
12 seconds on the shot clock.
Tompkins to take the inbound. Gives to Shanahan. She gives to Gamble at the top of the key. Gamble's going to take a long-range shot. It's short. So Brancatisano has ball in hand. 7 seconds to play. And that'll be it. So McKinnon win. 97-77. And Sherbrooke, their second loss of the season, which they have been courtesy of both times. McKinnon in the end, runaway, dominant winners. 97-77.